Hi, this is Emile Menasché for Acoustic Guitar Magazine, and what I have here is the Fender Highway Parlor guitar. It's called Parlor because it's smaller than the other Highway model, which is called the Dreadnought. This one has a 24 3/4 inch scale neck. It's a bolt-on neck. It's very Fender with a 3-bolt neck, just like the Strat that I got when I was in high school, which is hanging somewhere in this room. It has 6 on-a-side tuners. The tuning posts allow you to stick the end of the string in, which I particularly like, especially since this guitar comes with a gig bag because the string ends are not going to tear up your gig bag. The neck is on the thin side. It's very slick, and as you'll see, this guitar really is a very comfortable fit for somebody who plays electric guitar and for an acoustic player, and I go back and forth between the two. It kind of leads me more toward some of my electric style guitar playing. It's got a Fishman Fluence pickup with sort of an interesting, although simple looking, control system volume, and this sort of voicing control that goes from one end to the other. So it's not like a traditional tone control. The tone is never completely rolled off and dull sounding. It just shifts kind of its focus. And there are a lot of interesting sounds in between. So for this test, I'm going to play the guitar with the microphone. I've got a mic over here on my right-hand side. I'm going to play it with direct and the mic. Then I'm going to turn off the direct. I'm just going to roll off the volume, and you're going to just hear it on the mic. And then I'm going to go direct, and I'm going to just mute the mic in the mix. So one of the things that surprised me about this guitar is that it actually has, for such a thin line guitar, it has a pretty nice acoustic sound. Does it have a ton of low end? No. But is it completely thin on top? No. And I'm actually going to roll this off for a second so you just hear that. That's actually pretty nice sustain as well. Now remember that this microphone is not pointing right at the guitar either. So what you're hearing is a little bit of like the ambient sound you would hear if you were playing this in a room and somebody was sitting over to the side of you, with the mic not adding any proximity effect. And it's actually fairly mellow too. Listen, I'm going to play just with my thumb. Has a nice balance to it. Okay. Again, it doesn't kick low end unplugged, but it's a lot beefier sounding than I expected. Okay, now I'm going to bring the electronics back in. So now we're hearing a blend of the two. And I'm going to just take it through its paces a little bit. I really like the way these tuners work. I know it sounds like a small thing, but as I said before, this guitar is kind of got me in my electric guitar mind. And that means a lot of bending. A lot of bending means strings. I don't know, sting is probably always in tune, but strings can go out of tune. So I've barely had to touch this guitar since I started playing it today. tuners have a nice, precise feel to them, so it's easy to get back in. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mute the mic, except to come back in and talk a little bit. And I'm going to start with the tone control all the way up in its clockwise position. Then I'm going to sort of slowly bring it down, and you'll see the adjustments as I do them, and you'll hear it. When it gets all the way down to counterclockwise, the guitar becomes a little bit less, I would say, let's say one extreme is jangly, kind of open chord sound, and the other extreme is a little bit more, a little jazzier. I don't want to say archtop sound, but kind of in that mode. It's just got a little bit more, just a little bit more of a mellow body. I don't want to say warmth either. I think those are misleading terms. But you'll hear for yourself and decide. So here we go. Mic goes off now. This next bit's about midway in between. Now I'm going to turn the tone control all the way to counterclockwise, and I'm going to play a little bit differently. So it's maybe, I'll play some of the same stuff too, so it's apples to apples, but you know, the tone is going to influence what you play. And I found that this tone had me playing more in this mode. So if I were playing lead in an acoustic ensemble, you know, like a rock acoustic ensemble or an acoustic jazz ensemble, I would really appreciate the slickness of this neck. So I'm not the fastest player in the world, and this guitar kind of gets me to my speed limit, let's say. So I'm just gonna play a little bit and back again to the sort of bending stuff. One of the things I had to adjust a little bit on this guitar for my playing, because I have a little bit of a heavy touch when I'm not being careful, is this guitar does not love getting slammed into. It really, a light touch gets more out of it, I find. At the same time, you don't need a lot to get sound out of it. And there's some overtone in here too. You don't think of a Thinline guitar as, you know, resonance machine, but this thing certainly does produce some sound. So the direct sound you've heard is really literally just plugged in direct. So as if you're plugging into a PA. I did test this through an amp, and I'm going to use a digital amp simulation in order to let you hear what it sounds like through an electric guitar amp. So this next little bit and taking the sound out is going to be through the amp simulation, and then I'm going to sign off. Here we go. This is Emile Menasché for Acoustic Guitar Magazine. Thank you for listening.